Everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to talk about sphenoid bone. And here at the side you can see the diagrammatic representation of cranial cavity showing sphenoid bone in yellow color. So let's start our topic with introduction. Sphenoid bone is one of the most intricate and central cranial bone. It is often described as the keystone of skull. It forms a central wedge that connects and supports various cranial structures. The complexity of its shape and its multiple articulation with other bones underscore its importance in both structure and function. Now let's talk about structure of sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone is complex butterfly or bat-shaped bone situated at the skull base. It consists of central body, extended wings, and distinct projection that articulate with almost every other cranial bone. Its unique configuration allows the sphenoid to play a critical role in forming the floor of middle cranial fossa, the lateral wall of skull, and parts of orbital cavity. Now let's talk about components of sphenoid bone. It has body, lesser wing, greater wing, and pterygoid processes. Now let's talk about these components one by one. First we will talk about body of sphenoid bone. This is the central portion of the sphenoid bone. It contains several important features. It houses the sphenoidal synaces which are variable in size and pivotal in reducing the weight of skull. Within the body there is sella turcica, that is a deep saddle-shaped depression that houses and protects the pituitary gland, making one of the most significant functional relationships of sphenoid bone. Further talking about component, it has lesser wing that projects superiorly and anteriorly. Lesser wing contributes to the formation of anterior part of cranial fossa and the orbital cavity. These thin extensions are key in transmission of various neurovascular structures within the optic canal found at their junction. Then it has greater wings that are extend laterally, and greater wings are thicker and attributes to its formation of middle cranial fossa and part of lateral skull. They are critical in forming the lateral wall of skull and offer attachment point for several muscles. These wings also help form the floor of orbit and support the temporal lobes. Further talking about component, it has pterygoid processes that arise from inferior aspect of sphenoid bone. Pterygoid processes project downward in two plates, the medial pterygoid plate and lateral pterygoid plate. These structures provide attachment site for muscle involved in mastication and play a key role in functioning of the jaw. Now let's talk about developmental perspectives of the sphenoid bone. The first is embryological origin. Sphenoid bone is unique in that it develops from multiple ossification centers. During embryonic development, these centers gradually fuse to form the final bone. The complex fusion process reflects the bone composite nature and its involvement in forming both the base of skull and portion of cranial vault. Notably, any disturbance in developmental process can affect adjacent structure, particularly those in close relation to the pituitary gland and optic nerve. Further talking about developmental perspectives of sphenoid bone, it has will talk about growth and maturation of sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone continue to ossify and change shape during childhood and adolescence. As the brain grows, the brain remodels to accommodate increasing cranial volume and complexity. This maturation process is closely linked with the overall development of craniofacial skeleton and is subject of interest in both forensic anthropology and developmental biology. Now let's talk about clinical functional significance of sphenoid bone. The first is structural support and integration. Sphenoid bone acts as a central support that unifies the anterior, middle, and posterior cranial fossa. Its strategic location and multiple articulation make it essential for maintaining the integrity of skull. By connecting various bones, the sphenoid bone helps distribute mechanical forces and protect delicate neurovascular structure within the cranial cavity. Second functional significance is neurovascular passages. Sphenoid bone is conducive for numerous vital structures, and these are the optic canals situated near the lesser wing transmit the optic nerve and ophthalmic artery, ensuring proper visual function. In addition, there are several foramina within the sphenoid enable the passage of cranial nerves such as oculomotor, trochlear, and abducent nerve, and branches of trigeminal nerve, underpinning its critical role in sensory and motor neural pathways. Further talking about its functional significance, it has also important endocrine protection as a cellular turcica that is distinctive expression on the sphenoid central body provides secure housing for the pituitary gland. And given the central role of pituitary in regulating hormones throughout the body, sphenoid indirectly support endocrine function by forming a protective niche for this gland. Now let's talk about clinical significance of sphenoid bone. First is pituitary disorder. Given its close association with pituitary gland, lesions or tumor in the sphenoid region, such as pituitary adenomas, can have wide-ranging endocrine consequences. The close proximity of sphenoid to visual pathway also means that expanding lesion may lead to visual disturbances, particularly affecting the optic chiasma. Further talking about clinical significance, there may be trauma and fracture. Though well protected deep within the skull, the sphenoid can be compromised in high impact trauma. Fracture in this region can particularly concerning due to the risk of injuring adjacent neural and muscular structure. Radiological imaging techniques such as CT scans are essential in diagnosing sphenoid fractures and planning surgical intervention. Further talking about clinical significance, it is sinus and inflammatory diseases. Sphenoidal sinuses located when its body contributes to the pneumatic nature of the bone. These sinuses can become sites of chronic infection or inflammation, leading to sphenoid sinusitis. Such condition may present with headache, visual disturbances, or cranial nerve deficit if left untreated. Now let's talk about conclusion of this lecture video. Sphenoid bone stands as one of the most powerful structures in human skull. Its multifaceted anatomy spanning the central body, lesser and greater veins, and pterygoid processes make it essential for bridging different cranial regions. Its functional role from providing structural support and serving as a passage for vital neurovascular structure to protecting endocrine organs underscore its importance. And this was all about sphenoid bone. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.